All right, good morning. My name is Tammy Stoffaker. I am with Decor Lighting Sales. We're going to be talking Kohler lighting today with exciting new information to cover. Before we begin though, I just want to make a few notes. We'll be talking about IMAP pricing. That is all valid on the Kohler price sheet dated April 1 of 2021. During the webinar itself, if you would mute your microphones, it helps with some feedback. But if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to hop in and ask those. And also my colleague Kathy is here and she will be monitoring the chat box too. So if you would prefer to type something into chat, please feel free to do so. Quick overview, we're going to touch briefly on the Kohler brand, and we are going to talk about some of the updates that have happened in the last month or so. We'll review then the Kohler products, and again, we'll have a little more time at the end if there are more questions. So Kohler Company history. Kohler was founded by John Michael Kohler on December 3rd in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. The company originally started making plows and other farm implements. And then around 1911, they introduced the first one-piece built-in bath with that integral apron. And then if you look down on the left-hand side there, you will see that beautiful advertising that was come up with in 1967. We all have heard the bold look of Kohler before. That concept came into being in 1967 as those boldly colored products were developed under this tagline.
Yikes. Even the deaf is too loud for her.
Just a quick reminder, if you could mute your microphone, unless you have a question, that would just be great. Then in 2020, not 1920, wow. In 2020, Kohler Lighting came to be, really working to pair elevated design with the craftsmanship that they're very devoted to. They really like to work to shape a new standard in lighting and create pieces that truly last. This dedication has been very evident to me. I am constantly getting asked questions regarding design and process and how to make it better. And we've seen a lot of improvements over the last year, especially in the last several months. And I know that going forward, it will only get easier and easier to work with Kohler lighting. We'll also see this line expand quickly in the future. There's a lot of really fun designs that I have seen that are expected this fall. So that is something to look forward to. I'd also just really highly recommend you take a look at the art history page of the Kohler website. There's amazing photos and a lot more details about the company and how it has evolved over the last 140 years. It's very interesting history there. So Kohler updates. Number one, happy anniversary Kohler. The one-year event is going on right now. That lighting event runs May 31st through April 30th, and that offers 20% off. And you'll notice that on the Kohler website. And a lot of you should have those tags and table toppers in your showrooms. If not, let us know. And a reminder, you do need to use the discount code when you order. And again, if you need details on what those codes are, let us know. Big program changes happened and they were effective April 1st. The first one was prices were reduced on an average to the consumer by 30 and in some cases 30+%. Along with that came a new pricing sheet that includes your net price as well as your IMAP price. That IMAP price is that internet minimum advertised pricing. So pricing is much more clear and easy to understand and in line with what the lighting industry does. Another great change was free shipping on standard lighting orders. Then there are a couple of different multipliers that vary a little bit by discount category. Mainly just in the legacy lighting line where you'll see a little bit tighter margins. If you need details on what those are, again, you can let us know and we can send you that information if you don't already have it. But again, it's really just on that legacy bath lighting where there's a little bit of variance. So speaking of bath lighting product, there's been a lot of enhancements to that legacy line. The legacy line includes the Devonshire, the Forte, the Artifacts, Bancroft, Margot, and Purist products. They will be adding finishes. They're transitioning to lighting codes, kind of keep that consistent nomenclature. A few other details are happening. The Artifacts sconce, that inner frosted shade will now be removable. We'll let the customer either select if they want to have that inner diffused light with that shade, or if they want to remove it maybe and use something like a vintage bulb that they want to highlight and have a little bit different look. It's kind of a 2-for-1 now. We also have some changes to the Purist. The SKU has been updated to match the lighting nomenclature. And now they're using an E12 base, which is much more easily available, readily available. And the night light feature has been removed on that. So there's going to be some transition happening, and you can see kind of what the schedule is on the screen there. So it's going to be happening over the next several months, where those changes are going to be seen, where you're going to see those additional finishes and some of those codes change. If you have any questions when you're ordering or anything like that, certainly get us involved. We're happy to help you out. And also just another note, that Forte bath line still remains unbound by IMAP. Due to its long time establishment presence in the Kohler line, it's kind of still that one piece that isn't covered under the pricing and IMAP stuff that the rest of the lines are. So now we're going to move on to our collections. There's 10 collections in the Kohler line, 4 of which were introduced last winter, early winter, but they are now shipping. The new product is not yet in a printed catalog, but there are sell sheets available, and all of the spec and everything is up on the Kohler website as well. One of the things you'll notice with the collections is they pair really well together. A lot of overlapping styles that complement each other. So that's really kind of fun in the Kohler line. If you're working on selling one particular piece, it's oftentimes easy to lead them into another piece, maybe from a different Kohler collection. We're going to start with components today. Very bold lines on this particular design. A real example of minimalism, I think, at its finest. The linear light sabers on the right there, a very clean, pure design. And then we have this beautiful globe in the center. This was inspired by the lace maker lamp that was actually found in Kohler storage. The candle in the center was lit, and then those globes of water would reflect and refract light beautifully throughout the space. And of course, leave it to a plumbing company to combine water and electricity. You will need to use distilled water for all of the lace maker sconces. There's, I think, 3 or 4 different ones in the line. And you also want to pay close attention to that fill line. It's very clearly marked when you unbox this fixture. You cannot miss it. I've done it myself, so I can very assuredly tell you that. The thing with it is, if you turn the light on, you're going to heat water. What happens to water when it's heated is it expands. So you just don't want to overfill this to brim, or you could crack the glass. Again, if all you have to do is follow the directions, and it's very easy to see and very clear what they are. So the components chandelier, this works on a ball joint, and the hinge allows that user to pivot those light sabers out, or they can go completely vertical. Here we're seeing the black finish. It's also available in polished chrome, polished nickel, the modern brushed gold, and in matte black. Also, that lace maker sconce can be mounted up or down. I forgot to mention that. And it does include that little LED on the tail. So you get that little extra pop of light. So here's the full collection. You'll notice the L code at the end of the finishes at the bottom there. This is all LED. The lace maker is going to give you about 450 lumens. And that's about equal to what you would consider about a 40-watt bulb. As we used to rate them, everything is rated in lumens now, as we've discussed a couple of times. And Kohler uses 3000 degrees Kelvin, so a very neutral white color for the light output. An example, we have the double Saber bath light. That's going to be 700 lumens a piece. And just to give you a quick reminder, 60-watt bulb is about 800 lumens, and a 100-watt bulb is about 1600 lumens. So with this particular piece, I would, especially if you're using it in a bath, it's something I would just mention to your customers and set their expectation. If they have 2 side lights and they're going to switch to these, but they're used to having 2 100-watt bulbs, there will be a light difference that they may or may not be happy with. So it's always just good to have that discussion with your customer up front, especially if you're using this on sides of a bath. Next, we have the Simpalo, which I think the series pairs very well with the components. Very mid-century modern, but still versatile, can really work with a lot of different designs. This line was inspired by a line of faucet handles from Kohler. The pendant is 1800 lumens, the semi-flush is 2200 lumens, and the flush mount is 2000 lumens. We've got a couple of different finish options here: polished chrome, polished nickel, and the modern brushed gold, as well as matte black. And here's the full collection. And this is a collection that you'll notice the pricing has changed dramatically on. It looks much more attractive now. Next, we move into Modern Farm, probably one of the most recognizable unique pieces from Kohler. Very fresh perspective on this vintage industrial style, kind of bringing that outdoor, indoor. Combines that kind of warmth and elegance with very clean lines that we find in more modern design. Finishes available on this are matte white, polished chrome, the modern brushed gold, and vibrant nickel. And there's all the variations there. And here's the full collection. It is a pretty full collection and robust line with really options for about every space you can think of. Most fixtures have an articulating or an adjustable shade to direct the light where you need it the most. On display, I would recommend maybe using an LED bulb for wall displays that are within touching distance, especially of young children's hands. It will ship with an incandescent bulb. And as we know, incandescent bulbs give off quite a bit of heat. So it is a metal shade. So that metal shade will heat up. Just something to be aware of. It's not going to burn anybody, but if you've got little kids who touch it, it might surprise them at the heat level on that one. So let us know too if you need help with getting LED lamping for any of those. Next, we have Memoirs. Very sophisticated, classic architectural elements in this piece. This is kind of inspired by crown molding and those crisp classic design lines. Memoirs is available in polished chrome, polished nickel, brushed nickel, modern brushed gold, and oil rubbed bronze. So a lot of options there. Here's the full collection, and this does pair with the Memoirs faucets and accessories. Next, we're moving on to artifacts. Very vintage again, but still timeless. Kind of brings the turn of the century charm into the modern eclectic style of today. Here is that linear piece. It's just lovely. And we have the pendants that are weighted, which are really a fun option. Some different finishes. We have polished chrome, polished nickel, vibrant brushed nickel, modern brushed gold, oil rubbed bronze, vibrant brushed bronze, and then we'll be adding the brushed modern brass to this collection as that rollout happens. I think this is also a collection that pairs very well with the Modern Farm, kind of continuing that more vintage feel. Another full line of product. You can see, again, that single wall sconce price is great. And again, compared to where we were looking at pricing 6 months ago, a lot of this pricing looks really wonderful. Next, we have the Damask. Very finely crafted details in this one. Kind of can see the intricacies of those luxury fabrics that were inspired in this particular piece. You see the lines of an antique candlestick echoed here as well. Let me go back one there. You'll notice the lace maker sconce that's available in this one. There is also a lace maker in the Modern Farm. Some fun hanging pieces in the Damask. Here is our finishes. We have polished nickel, modern brushed gold, polished chrome, and oil rubbed bronze. And here you can see some of the faceting on those candlestick details. They're just really beautifully finished. Here's the full Damask collection. So you have a lot of different options. That 3-light multi-pendant kind of in the center there is just really beautiful with the different shapes of glass. Next, we're going to move to the 2020 product release. As I mentioned, this is not in the catalog, but sell sheets are available for these. I would expect a new catalog maybe the end of this year or next year, because I do know, like I mentioned earlier, that they're going to launch a lot of new product towards the end of the year this year. So new stuff, we have the Vorley, inspired by a vintage French Art Deco table lamp that's part of the personal collection of Seth Stevens, who is the chief designer for Kohler luxury brands. The lamp has a metal shade that pivots to allow the lamp's illumination to be directed down or to the side. It's a combination of very simple, elegant forms, and this pivoting shade kind of reinterprets a timeless Art Deco style for a little bit more modern setting. Here we can see that 8-light. It's hard to tell a little bit, but if you notice back here, it's actually on both sides. So that's an 8-light linear piece there, available in polished nickel, gunmetal, polished brass, and brushed modern gold. The Perron collection is really kind of high style, modern, inspired by the classic designs of the 30s and 40s. This collection features actually the same body as the Vorley, but with a completely different aesthetic thanks to those kind of chic conical fabric shades with the metal trim. The Perron is a full line, actually, as you could tell. Polished nickel, gunmetal, polished brass, brushed modern gold are all available for that. And a really well-priced line. Next, we have the Hawksby Collection. The inspiration for this is really drawn from the lighting created for factories and farms and industrial spaces in the 20s and 30s. It includes that double dome metal shade with that cage detail at the connection. It also has a shade with the rib glass available that you'll see here on the bath, which was inspired by that vintage Hall of Fame glass that we have seen in the past. Nice modern approach to some of our finishes that combine the black and the white metal shades with the contrasting metal trims. This is available in polished chrome, brushed nickel, polished nickel, and then you have the combination matte black brushed gold or matte white brushed gold. And then you also have matte white with polished chrome. So a lot of options here for the Hawksby. And last collection that was introduced last fall was the Arundella. Inspiration from Briolet, a type of gemstone faceting, also used as inspiration for Kohler's sink. The delicate metal framework of this fixture suspends Arundella's faceted glass disc, which sparkles and really is going to throw a lot of fun reflections from all angles as it catches the light. Light airy quality to this piece, beautiful accent for anywhere. This is available in brushed nickel, polished nickel, and brushed modern gold. I think this one also pairs with the Vorley very well. Next, we are going to move into the legacy products. Talked a little bit about them already, but we'll just take a quick overview. We have the Purist and the Margot here. The Purist is part of the Purist series of faucets and accessories, and a nod, again, to minimalism that can fit both traditional and contemporary styling. This is very architectural in form. And then we have the Margot, which pairs with the Memoirs line. Very bold, modern update to a very traditional form. These are available in polished chrome, vibrant polished nickel, brushed nickel, and modern brushed gold, and vibrant brushed bronze as well. The Purist will be released in matte black and matte black with brushed modern brass when its turn comes up for updating. Next, we have Devonshire, coordinating with the Devonshire series, has those beautiful sweeping curves and contemporary lines, very transitional vintage design here, available in polished chrome, polished nickel, oil rubbed bronze, and we'll be adding the black and brushed modern brass in combination with black to this line very soon. Next is Bancroft, kind of early 1900s styling. It's a little bit of a vintage touch here. Pairs with the Bancroft faucets and accessories and is available in polished chrome, and then the vibrant finishes of polished nickel, and brushed bronze. And lastly, we are going to look at the Forte, very classic design, bridging old world styling with a more updated silhouette. And again, as I mentioned earlier, this is not bound by IMAP. It is available in polished chrome, vibrant polished nickel, and they'll be adding the matte black to this series. There is your full line of legacy lighting. So the next thing is, does anybody have any questions on anything you saw today? If you can't think of any right now, that's fine. We are going to finish up, but if you think of anything, certainly feel free to reach out to any of us at Decor. We are happy to help you and answer any questions that you may have. If you don't have our email addresses, you can find them at decorlightingsales.com on our team page. So thank you so much for your time today, and happy selling.